Hey there, everybody. Parks Owsley here with Inven Global, and I'm joined by Coach Goldenglue. Welcome. Thank you so much for meeting up with me in the off season. First off, before we get into anything, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to be here. I'm just kind of, chilling, relaxing, waiting for the next season to start. So,
Yeah, for sure. Same here.
yeah.
um, so before we get into obviously like what you're doing now in the off season, can you talk a little bit about what led you into making this decision to becoming a coach? Obviously, I think if I remember correctly, the contract that you had was ending. It was like a one season thing.
Yeah.
So obviously a decision had to be made, but how did you come up with this one?
Yeah. So it was a really like multifaceted decision, and it wasn't like one really easy thing to say, like, oh, this is what pushed me over the edge to make the decision from going to coach. I had playing options in the LCS, and I had playing options like in a lot of places. And what it came down to was that I was more excited about the idea of becoming a coach for 100 Thieves than I was about any of my playing options. And that kind of came down to the situation was like I didn't really want to play LCS unless I was going to be on a team that would be pushing for like top three. And none of my options really felt like it was like that. And I was like, if I'm not, competing to be the best, then I'd rather like try this new role of coaching, which people have already told me that, you know, I've had a lot of coaches in the past tell me like, oh, I have good personality or attitude or skills for becoming a coach. And I was like, I feel like this is a great time to, give that a shot. And it's with an organization and like a staff that I really want to like be a part of. Like I think 100 Thieves is just super awesome organization from the top down. And I'm really excited to start working with them. So it was a really tough decision to be honest, because being a player has been like my cornerstone like identity piece for like 8 years now. So I definitely didn't take it lightly. I put out that long twit longer. It kind of like wrote out a lot of my thoughts. Um, but at the end of the day, I just was more excited about being a coach for 100 Thieves than any of my other options.
Yeah. Yeah, I read the twit longer and I mean something that I was going to ask near the end, but I think you just brought it up was the identity piece. And I think it's easy as a mid laner to kind of like have an identity too. Like it's kind of, it's the central thing. It's like a very important role and there are a bunch of different ways you can play it. And there's always a conversation like, should you be roaming or like just win lane or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a little harder, I think, to have like an identity as a coach because there's not as much focus on it. What is your plan around that? What do you hope that your identity is, and how do you kind of plan to define yourself as a coach?
Sure. I think, it is hard because I think I see myself going into the coaching role that so as a player, it is about me. It's about like my performance, my play, my wins, right? Going into the coaching role, I think it's just going to be about lifting up everyone around me. And I think if I do a good job of that, then like there will be a small light on me, but I'm not expecting to be, I don't know, like in the spotlight or um, I'm expecting to be a more like kind of low key role, I suppose, in the public facing, which I'm fine with that. I don't really feel like I need or like really am like dying to have the fame of like of a player. I'm just gonna try to do my best to make my players look as good as possible, and if I think I do a good job of that, then I'll be knowing that I am doing a good job.
hmm Um, I think something cool about you as well, and you can agree or disagree, but you may be the player who spent the most time hopping between LCS and Academy, um, which I think may lend itself really well to being an Academy coach, since that's kind of like that's going to be their goal is to get
Yeah,
up to LCS.
yeah.
Do you feel like you have kind of like a unique position or like kind of way to relate to them and help them with that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I have an extremely unique position of being like the player with being who I am, with all my experiences that I have, there's no other player with my kind of experiences. And I know exactly what these guys, like I know how to put these guys on a good track, right? Because I was in the academy position for so long on Cloud9 or Team Liquid A, and I was always the kind of player that I had to go there because people didn't believe in me, and then I would work my way there to make people believe in me again, to give me a shot. So I think I have a good sense of what the priorities need to be for those players to get them into the LCS and get them onto the main stage. And I think also the roster, I'm really excited to work with the talent. Like I really feel like all 5 of them will be in the LCS within a year. So that's my goal for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think 100 Thieves, in the past is they've swapped a lot of people up. So a lot of times we'll see player coaches potentially struggle to like maybe find a way to have some authority over the players. And in some ways, it's like, oh, this guy's a player, so he actually knows, so I can respect that. But then in other ways, it's like, he was a player, but he's not anymore. But I still am, so I should know more. Like there's like a weird like mix there. So, what is your plan and kind of like having some authority and actually being able to like be in charge and really lead these guys?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the things I think about a lot is like, how do I change from being one of the players to being an authority figure? I think it definitely helps that I'm starting as an academy coach and not like going straight into LCS. And my whole roster's like a fair amount younger than me. I played against, Ryoma. I think I played against Boom. I played against these guys, so they kind of know what I'm about. And I've just been around so much longer than them. So I'm kind of hoping that comes into some of the respect that I think I deserve. But at the same time, I kind of still want to be able to earn their respect, and I will show them like through my work ethic and through like what I'm teaching them about the game. I think that in itself will carry some respect.
Yeah. Along with that, do you plan on like staying on top of solo queue? Like, are you going to be grinding out, like trying to like beat Ryoma in a 1v1? Like, are you gonna maybe assert your dominance that way?
Yeah, I actually definitely still plan to continue to play solo queue. Maybe not as much as previously, but honestly, maybe more because now I won't be playing during the day. I'll be like coaching, so maybe I'll want to play more afterwards. I definitely will plan to be challenger, and like I kind of want to be higher ranked than my players to kind of be like, hey, yo, like get your rank up, bro. Like, what are you doing? You're slacking. So I think that'll be a fun and interesting dynamic.
Yeah, good luck to the players then. 'Cause I do imagine you'll probably have a little more willingness to just grind out games. The other kind of thing about 100 Thieves specifically, they did a really good job scouting talent, developing. They obviously had 100 Next, which a lot of these guys are from that.
Yeah,
And Kelsey did a really good job with all of that. Poom obviously
yeah.
went to LCS and then he's back in Academy. Ryoma as well was there. What is your plan as far as like differentiating yourself from what they did in 2020, but then also maybe kind of still building on the foundation of what they've built?
Yeah, so I don't have like complete context for how Kelsey worked. All I know is I've heard really great things about what she did, and like from her results that she got, like she was obviously a really good coach. I'm going in. I'm not really thinking about what she did. I'm just thinking about like what I'm going to do and like maximizing the strengths that I have with the experiences that I have, and also just being able to relate to the players and like knowing what they're going through. I think outside of the game is going to be a huge part of why I think I'm going to be successful, because a lot of people you think you can understand what a player is going through, right? When it's like they're getting destroyed by Reddit or Twitter, or like they're getting like hate comments like everywhere they look, or they're having a bad day of scrims and they don't like really are they're not having a good day, and most people don't know how to console them because they don't know what they're going through. But like I've been there over and over and over, so I think I know better than almost anyone what to tell these guys to keep morale up and like keep them dedicated and happy and focused, and basically just be like the person that can help the team rally behind. So that's maybe that was an indirect answer to your question, but that's kind of like my plan going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, and then what is your plan right now? What are you doing in the off season to kind of help yourself out? Once the season starts or once scrims start in like a month.
Yeah, so I'm doing some reading about stuff like being a leader, like ways to teach people. I'm reading a couple books. One's called Grit. Another one's called what is it called? Daring Greatly. And then I just started reading
Oh,
another. Yeah,
that's
that
a
book's
great one.
amazing.
Yeah, that's a
That's
really
a
good one.
book's amazing. Yeah, I just finished that. It's an amazing book. And then
Nice.
I'm also reading now Atomic Habits. And I've also read a lot of books about learning and improving in the past. It's kind of like a passion of mine. So I'm doing research. I'm also like doing scouting reports for all my players, like trying to get a background of more in-depth background of their playing and their style. Doing one-on-ones with them and like talking to them about the game and how they feel going into next season. And I'm also doing a lot of talking to other coaches. I talk a lot to Bjergsen, who's like kind of going through the exact same thing as
Yeah.
me. We're like going from player to coach, and we relate a lot about that. So it's been like a semi-busy time where I'm just kind of doing whatever I think will set me up for success next year.
Yeah. Wow. Are you doing your own scouting reports? Or are you like when you say that? Are you just like looking at their scrims and their game, their solo queue, and the stage games, or are you also like talking to people who have worked with them?
So 100 Thieves has they have like a method for how they scout players. So I don't want to go too far into it, but
Sure.
there's like a method that I'm following to like rate them on certain things. So
Ah,
I'm kind of just following their methods.
cool, cool. The other thing that I think is just kind of funny or ironic is this year we have 6 NA mids, and it's like the season that you move to being a coach. We're just like, cool, we'll
Yeah.
just promote all the NA Academy mids then. So, what is your thought about the LCS mid lane pool this year? Because we have Perks who just came to North America, but Bjergsen retired, and randomly have 6 NA mids. So, what is your thought about the mid lane?
What's that saying? Like I crawled so they could walk or something
There
like
we go. I walked so they could
that.
run. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's super cool and exciting. I think for most of the LCS teams and mid laners, next split's gonna be really top heavy. I think the top like 3, 4, 5 mid laners or so are really, really good, and then there's a bunch of guys kind of trying to prove themselves. I think the fact that it'll probably be, I mean, I'm assuming it'll be online to start off, will actually be a pretty big buff to the new guys coming in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some upsets or like better performances than you would expect out of some of the newer talent. But I'm personally really excited to just watch Perks. I think I watch a lot of Perks, and he's phenomenal, and it's cool that he's coming over here. And hopefully he doesn't, I don't know, uh, get complacent or go into retirement mode. But if he comes over here and does what he does over in Europe, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, for sure. I hope he can slot back into mid quickly and
Yeah.
easily. Um, so then, last question I have before we go. You've had a lot of coaches throughout your career. You've changed around teams a lot. Um, do you have any like standout coaches that you would kind of hope to honor, or that you've like learned from? Any kind of inspiration that you're drawing from?
Yeah, I would say that I've worked with so many coaches in my career that there's there's like a little bits that I can take from each of them. I would say someone who still left an impression in my head was Kane. I think Kane did a really good job, even when I worked with him briefly, of kind of like he did a good job of making me feel more comfortable to perform and like not make it seem like the end of the world if I make a mistake. So I'd say Kane, parts of Reaper, West Rice, I mean, Anero, all the coaches I've worked with previously, Artemis and Irene. They all have different strengths, and I'm hoping that since I've seen all of them work, I can kind of like combine all of them and just become the sum is better than the total of its parts, or whatever that phrase is. Edit this in. The total is greater than the sum of its parts.
I got you. Yeah, that's a great phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. You can just be Exodia. You can have one piece.
That's a goal.
Each. Yeah. Anyway, that does it for us. Thank you all for watching. Goldenglue, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And yeah, check out more content. We've got a couple other interviews coming out later this week. So we will catch you next time.
Peace. Whatever that phrase is.
Yeah.
What is it? What is the phrase?
Wait.
The sum is greater than the.
I think you had it backward. I think it's the total is greater than the sum.
The total is greater than the sum of its parts. Yeah.
The
total is greater than. So edit this in. The total is greater than the sum of its parts.
I got you.